every level I conquer, I feel so alive. The retro rain is calling, I'm ready to fight. In a world of nostalgia, my spirit will rise. Well, let me take you on a ride through the games that never die. With neon lights flashing and the crowd sings along, we'll break the high scores, we'll prove we belong. Chasing that glory, we'll never allow. In this land of pixels, we'll cover our ground. Well, let me take you on a ride through the games that never die. With wild hair blowing, we'll stand side by side, facing down the monsters with our hearts open wide. In the pixelated battles, we're flying the strand through battle tides and space. We'll go to great tide. Well, let me take you on a ride.
All right. I think we're live. Double check this is working. Okay, seems like we're online here. I am trying to test out desktop audio here. I'm not sure I'm getting any desktop audio. Let me see here. Testing. Should have checked on this. Let me do something different here. Yeah, I don't think we're getting game audio here. Options. Didn't think this would be a problem. Alright, figure it out on the fly, I guess. Basically, what I wanted to talk about tonight, I wanted to just live stream and play some games, of course, but I also wanted to Also wanted to test out some games, some shaders, and sort of show off some of RetroBat's capabilities. So, basically, what is RetroBat? RetroBat is a streaming, it's not a streaming, sorry, it's a retro gaming sort of front end, all in one sort of front end. So, for the longest time, over the past like year, I've been building out a retro gaming setup with Emulation Station DE, which is desktop edition. And it turned out that was really sort of a waste of time. It's way too much manual setup. I mean, if you're highly like one of these people that wants to highly customize stuff, you can certainly do it that way. But if you want something that's going to work a little better out of the box, and let's say you're running Windows and you just want to pop into a front end that'll handle all your emulation, your shaders, your bezels, your emulators, all that stuff, RetroBat's going to be the way to go. If you have an older system that you want to turn like an older PC that's just defunct, running something really old like Windows 8, Windows 7, there's still plenty of horsepower there for some retro gaming, but in that case you might want to run Batocera, which is a Linux build that is almost identical to this, but it's a little more limiting in your emulation choices. So anyway, I wanted to get in here and show off some. See, I got some volume. Okay. I must just have it so low it wasn't registering. So I wanted to show off sort of what you can do to organize some of this, because the theme you get out of the box is not ideal. You know, it's like, or at first it doesn't seem ideal. You can drop in your ROMs and your games and hook everything up, and then when you jump in and scrape for all the artwork and stuff, you know, this is kind of what you'll get right out of the box. And I wanted to show you that you don't have to change themes to make this look better. Yes, you can install another theme. You can do another theme. I don't even know if I have another one on here. But I wanted to show you this is actually pretty clean and usable with just a few options. So first thing I would do is press start, your start button, go under user interface settings, and then hit theme configuration. And then this is going to be sort of your global settings for the theme. So you can set a default game list style, and you have all these choices. I'm going to go with boxes because I really like the box artwork, especially for retro gaming. And then default grid size, I think we're going to set to 3x2. So when I jump back into this first system, you're going to see actual game box artwork, which is, I think, in my opinion, a lot nicer. But we can push this a little further and make it look a little better. So we're going to go back into user interface settings, theme configuration, come down to preview pane. Let's make sure that's on. And it might be coming. Let me double check here. So you might need to turn it on under view customization. Let's see if that one works now. Yeah, okay. So now you've got game box artwork on the left. You can browse around all your games. And you can get a nice little video preview on the right with a description, which is really nice. I feel like this is like the optimal setup for a lot of your retro games, and this just looks really good. I'm noticing sort of a little bit of space between boxes, although I do like the size. I think specifically for this system, so I should share. So we set up our global settings. Now you can go in and customize a little bit per system, just layering a little customization. So we went in and turned on the preview pane, but we're also going to set a default grid size for this one and do, let's try 4x2 grid and see. Yeah, so we can fit one more game in a row and these sort of like nice little card views of the game box artwork, and I think this is just stellar and really awesome. Then you don't really have to go install another theme and still not really be happy. You can do some of this with different themes, but you're going to have different options. So depending on what theme you install, it may not have the ability to edit the grid exactly the way you want. It may not have the ability to turn on the preview pane, or the preview pane won't look the same, etc. But overall, I feel like this looks pretty awesome and pretty amazing. Then you can go like over to Super Nintendo. So these boxes are a little different. I did turn on the box artwork. I did say 3x2 globally, but that's really going to fit more of your square boxes optimally. So per system, we're going to hit select, go down to, see, it's already picking up the box artwork from the global. You don't have to set it here specifically, but you can go into default grid size. Let's do, is this one that we can get away 3x3? Let's see. Yeah, that's not too bad. I think that looks pretty good. You can fit kind of an extra box in, you know, or an extra row. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now I think I've already gone in and set these up, so these are, I just kind of undid the changes for the first two for example purposes. So we've got Nintendo 64, we've got every Nintendo 64 game. We got some GameCube games going on here. These were the tall orientation again, so I went back to the 4x2. And then we get some Nintendo Switch. So this one, again, I haven't quite changed the grid the way I want, so I think we can do 4x2 on this one as well. You know, those are pretty thin. We could maybe fit some more. I haven't cleaned this up yet, though. It does work, but for some reason it's scraping all of the individual files per game, so I'm getting a lot of duplicates. So I need to read the documentation on Switch a little more and get this dialed in a little better. I have them in folders, but it's reading all of the files in the folders, and it may just need a zip file, and maybe that'll work better. So we may not do much Switch tonight. Let's look at Mega Drive. Yeah, so I set these up with just Sega Genesis. They just, in Europe, I think they call it the Mega Drive. So this is really, really cool. I just love browsing through these old games this way. It really feels like you're pulling one off the shelf and getting to look at it a little bit, and then getting to check out a video preview before you even pop it in. Man, there was a Pro-Am for, oh, that's pretty great. I never saw Pro-Am on Genesis. It looks exactly the same, but with better graphics. Looks like the same game. That's awesome. I wonder if the music's the same. Okay, so we got Mega CD too. We got some Sega CD going on here. It's called Mega CD, so when you drop your games in, you need to drop it in the Mega CD folder. This game Snatcher looks incredible. It looks like a little like detective cyberpunk thriller. Yeah, we got to do a gameplay of that. Night Trap, back to the days of what did they call this? Live action video or whatever. These games, they filmed it like a movie, and then it was like a point and click. So yeah, we'll get into some of that. Got Sega Saturn. I got those laid out nicely. So we're gonna look at some shaders. So this one is like the square box artwork. So you want to set up your grid to fit those nicely. And then PlayStation, same thing, square box artwork. Although we've got a little space between them, we might be able to cram in a third row. I think it makes your artwork a little small at that point. We got some PS2 we still need to scrape for, which we'll do another night. Now I've added MS-DOS too. I got some DOS games. So this is really cool. These are some of my favorites. If you followed my stream, you see me play these a lot. Ooh, here's Syndicate. So another little quick tip is if you click and hold on a specific game, like A, if you click the A button on your controller and hold it, you get some options for this game specifically. Those are kind of hidden by default. you don't know that's there necessarily. You can hit scrape, so we can scrape this right here, get the artwork for it. Then we'll jump into some games here in a second. So this is not Syndicate Wars, it's Syndicate. I think this is going to be the right one here. Alright, so we've got Syndicate added. Alright, let's start off with some easy stuff, some old Nintendo games. Actually, just before we do that, I was going to show shaders. So if you go back to the general overview screen of all the consoles, if you hit that start button and you go down to actually, I think I'm doing this per console, so I take that back. Go back into the system that you're. Wait, hold on. I can't remember now. Game settings. This is a nice little feature too. If you're ever setting this up from scratch, you can do a missing BIOS check and hit this, and it's going to just tell you, based on the systems you have ROMs for or games for, hey, you're missing this BIOS or this BIOS or this BIOS. A little hack I'll tell you is just go find the GitHub for this. Just look up RetroBat BIOS, and there's a GitHub that holds this one and a separate one. It's in the same GitHub, but it's for Batocera too. It'll be a couple different packs. Just download the whole pack for whatever you're trying to set up. Drop that in your BIOS folder. Overwrite everything, and you'll come up clean with no missing BIOSes most of the time. So I was gonna try and show. I'm having a brain fart here. Game settings. Shader set. Here you go. So globally, you can set a shader if you want. And again, usually you're doing all this in RetroArch, and it's a pain in the ass and it's messy. RetroBat and Batocera make this a lot easier. It's just built into the admin here, into the front end. So you can set the shader globally if you want. I'm using CRT New Pixie. And then per system, let's say you don't like New Pixie for specific system. I feel like 3D games, it's not necessary, so at that point you hit select once you're in the system, go down to view customization, or actually advanced system options, shader. You can override the global setting with a system specific setting. So those are some of the kind of neat tidbits I wanted to show off. I was going to do a whole video, and I was like, you know what, let's just do it on a live stream, make it easier. So let's jump into Nintendo, and I'll show off what that shader looks like. You have the option to, somewhere in here, I think it's under Updates and Downloads, Bezel Project. It's going to look at all your systems, and you can download specific bezels. Those are the, the things, the area on the sides of your screen that if you want it to be game specific, you can download a whole pack for those. So like all the Sega Genesis, you can get game specific bezels if you want. I feel like that's only really necessary for MAME myself, for arcades, because sometimes they'll have instructions kind of on the cards and stuff. And I think that's pretty neat for MAME, but I don't feel like it's as necessary for consoles. I might change my mind one day. But for now, I just kind of like that it looks like a Nintendo when you're in Nintendo. Don't feel a specific need to see a specific game. Oh yeah, one more update here is if you hold A again on a specific game, you can move a game to your favorites easily, in addition to being able to scrape it or find similar games. You can start a netplay game here. It's all kinds of cool stuff. I still have not figured out netplay, but I will soon. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Mustafa Thamer. So we're gonna jump into Batman here. Batman. This is one of my favorites. Quite possibly the first NES game I ever owned. Very well, besides Mario, I guess. Second game I may have owned. Xbox 360. Yeah, I'll probably get that added. I do believe you can do that. So you can see I've got the bezel of Nintendo here, and I've got the shader that's kind of like a curved monitor with scan lines. I think this is like one of the most optimal ways to play. I really love it. You can hit start. We'll just play a few seconds of this and then move on. Xbox 360, yeah. Have to get some of that added. I do want to see if we can do some PS3 too. That'd be pretty epic. For some favorites. I don't know if I'd have the hard drive space to do a lot of PS3 games, but maybe swap out a favorite once in a while, you know, or pop in a physical disc. I do have a disc now, USB disc drive I can plug in. We can just jump into some real games, physical games I have. That'd be pretty neat. I don't know if I'd be able to scan them though. So this is a game I feel like I always love playing up to a certain point, and then I just get frustrated with it, and I mean, as a kid, I never could beat this game. I just didn't have the patience to go that far with it, or figure out exactly how to get through certain areas. Yahoo games, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd have Yahoo. I'm pretty sure you can hook up Steam games to this front end too. So you can just have it read all your Steam games. The method, though, might be handled a couple different ways. I'm not sure. With Batocera, I know for sure you go in and install Steam through its sort of like little Linux application manager thing, and then it'll read all you log in and it reads basically all your Steam games you have available. Oh, I'm not showing anything. Good grief. My bad, my bad, my bad. Game capture. That's awful. Here we go. For some reason, yeah, so here we are. Everybody's been wondering what the hell happened. For some reason, yeah, OBS, you use the setting capture any full screen window, and that works maybe half the time. I usually end up having to say, hey, no, capture this specific window because you're not doing what I want you to do. So I have to sort of manually go back and forth with the menu setting. Oop, we're doing this wrong. These are big guns here. There we go. Need this again. Yeah, so like I was saying, you've got the nice Nintendo themed bezels. You've got the scan lines shader and the sort of curved CRT. Like I said, I think this is like the optimal way to play most of your retro games, honestly. Even your MAME games, I think, look really good with this shader. Now, if your system's a little, you know, I'm playing this on like my most powerful PC in the house, because it can handle streaming and just about any system to show off. But some of the older PCs, you may not be able to run nearly as much, and yeah, you may end up with issues, performance issues on, you know, a slower machine. So it's just a matter of what kind of system you're running this all on. I'd recommend at least something with a decent GPU, get you pretty far. Certainly doesn't need to be top of the line. But as you start adding higher end gaming, especially Steam, modern Steam games, you know, unless they're like 2D pixel art, you know, you're going to want something fairly powerful, reasonably powerful. I always thought this was so cool from the movie. This game certainly doesn't copy the movie first seen, you know, but it tries. It uses some creative freedom, that's for sure. Let's see if I'm still good at this. So I've been saving some old, you know, office laptops from recycling, and if they're really old, like if they're running like Windows 7 originally or Windows 8, that's a candidate. That's a good candidate for Batocera. Batocera is going to run so good on one of those old machines, and like I said, what Batocera is it's a Linux distro that you can flash to a thumb drive, and you can boot right up from the thumb drive right into Batocera, which is really nice and convenient to try it out. And you can try out adding some games. You'll have to add games over the network. That's the biggest problem with Batocera since it's Linux. You might have a hard time browsing those folders on like a standard Windows or Mac PC. So I add a lot of my games over the network, find the IP address, connect it to Wi-Fi first, find the IP address, connect to it over your network from a main, you know, modern PC or laptop or computer or whatever. Add your games, get your games added, and then scan them. Set up a screen scraper account with your main machine. It's free. You just create an account, and then that's going to be your best bet for scraping. It's going to give you like the best stuff. You just have to set up an account and then put your account details into Batocera or RetroBat, log in, and then you can scrape. Then you'll get like the best artwork and stuff doing that. So we'll play just a couple more minutes of this, and then we'll jump over to another game. Check out something else like SNES. So yeah, like I said, I've been saving some sort of office laptops that are, some of them are really old. Like those are the ones, like I said, I'm using Batocera for. If they're newish, running like say Windows 10 or Windows 11, anything Windows 10 or 11, then I say that's a great candidate for running RetroBat, which is what we're running here. So that's going to be a Windows app. You just run Windows and then start up RetroBat like a normal application. You can set it as part of your startup apps, and you can have it boot right into it. So you could hook it up to a TV, and every time you turn it on, it's gonna boot right into RetroBat, and you have your controller start playing some retro games. Pretty much huge collections right at your fingertips. If it's Batocera, going back to like the older systems, if you have like a really old laptop that you want to repurpose, then what I'd recommend is not just running off the USB, because the USB that you flash Batocera to it's gonna get hot and may give you trouble. From what I understand, Batocera is kind of constantly writing and unwriting files, so it's better just to be on a hard drive. In that case, I'd recommend the USB method just for trying it out. You can play some games, but if you're committed, you're like, yeah, this is what I want to do with this laptop, then there is an option in the menu to just straight up install it to the hard drive and replace the whole hard drive with Batocera, which is a good use. It's a good way to take an old defunct PC and make it do something useful again, especially if you like gaming. If you don't like gaming, you may not want to do that. You might just install, I don't know, Linux and set up a server or something. I don't know. So there's definitely other things you can do, like a network server or a cloud server. You can do with an old PC, which I think that's a cool idea. I might look into that and make a video on that. I am dying here. Oh, a couple hearts. I needed that. If you're a gamer like me, I think that's a great choice. There's something else called Recall Box, but from what I understand, that's basically an older version of Batocera, or a less feature-rich version of Batocera, so I just recommend going with Batocera. I know Batocera is like currently maintained. There's a guy that, or a team or whatever, that updates that very regularly as of right now, and so you're gonna get like the latest and greatest pretty regularly, at least once every few months or so. I think they do an update. I don't know if you're gonna get like nightly builds or anything, but yeah, it's quite a bit of fun taking something like that and making it useful for. You could have a retro gaming station in every room if you can find enough old laptops or computers. Oh shit. Oh, that was a good save. I like handling these guys with a fist. Like fisting these robots a lot. What else? Yeah, I'd say let's jump out here in a sec. I was gonna see if I just died on this level, but it looks like I didn't. I got close. We fought back, farmed a few. Look at that. This is where I always got stuck as a kid. So I'd waste all my power. So there's a system. You're supposed to punch these things. Anything you can reach, you should punch them and not use your... Is it that one? No, it's that one. Maybe we can shoot that one? I got hopelessly stuck on this. It was just so hard. Okay, and then here, I would just... Yeah, I'd end up dying every time. I did make it past it, but it was a struggle after that point. Alright, so we're in our overall NES library here. Let me know any... You know, if you're watching this live or watching it later, comment and let me know about any NES hidden gems you might know of. I feel like every few months... Sorry, I gotta switch my camera back over here. Hold on. One second. There we go. If you know of any nice hidden gems for NES, SNES, any of them, let me know. Specifically NES, I've been finding... I just feel like I find one every few months. I'm like, how did I never know about this game? But the NES library is so large. Let's see, how many games do we have in this library? 850 games. So, yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to know about all of them. This may be one of the largest libraries. Super Nintendo's close. Nintendo 64 is not that close. But they've got a bunch of hidden games I never heard of, like Deadly Arts. Never heard of that. Konami game. Looks awesome. Only 2 stars, though, so that's not good for Konami. So that's what's fun about having a large library like this. Like, say you don't want to look at the whole library every time. You can go in here, hit select, hit other filters. You can go to ratings. I like to do this sometimes. And filter by 4 and 5 stars. Sometimes 5, but you won't get much. Not a lot of games got 5 stars. You just hit back and back out, and it'll filter all those games down to only the 4 and 5 star rating games. So you can play the cream of the crop. Do not have to browse through every single game. As far as I know, I don't know how to save a collection like this. I think you need to make a new dynamic collection, and maybe then you filter it that way to save it. But if you like turn this off and come back to it the next day, you might have to filter it again. It seems like there's always a lot of good like turn-based RPGs going on that got a lot of love. There was a DuckTales 2. I don't think this was released in the USA. So if you're a big fan of DuckTales, there's a good chance you never got to play this. So, yeah, you should check that out if you get the chance. We got Double Dragon 1, 2, and 3. These are classics. God, I remember playing this at a neighbor's house as a kid. They got Donkey Kong up in here, Dragon Warrior. So another turn-based RPG, which I'll admit was never my style game. I would pass on these every time. I like the action platformers. But I'm starting to get into those now. I'm starting to check these out and give them a chance. And they are a lot of fun. They are pretty addicting, I have to say. Even these old NES games, they are very addicting. So I started playing Final Fantasy. I didn't play it on this. If you have the Delta app on your iPhone, I don't know what it'd be for Android. Delta Emulator app, you can run turn-based RPGs with the touchscreen really well. Those are great candidates for your phone, like gaming on the run. You can get a handheld for like stuff you need buttons for, but a turn-based RPG is actually a really great candidate for just gaming on your phone on the run instead of just absorbing mindless social media all the time. Yeah, you could do something like that. Just load it up with turn-based RPGs. Plays remarkably well. I've been playing Final Fantasy 1 that way. This game, Gargoyle's Quest 2, is fantastic. So that is a hidden gem I did not know about until very recently. I played this last year, pretty much nonstop, and beat it. It was great. I did use save states, but you know what? That's the way it is. Nintendo games are hard, man. You need some saving once in a while. All the low games are great. Alright, let's get in here. Batman Return of the Joker. God, I remember playing this at my other neighbor's house. Super fun game. Never got that far with it since I didn't own it. I feel like I could never rent it. I would play these bases loaded games too. I like these. I enjoyed these. What else is in here? So this is fun to just browse by the best stuff. So not only will your favorites show up at the top, but of course there is a menu you can turn on or off for favorites here. And you can set a specific grid size you want to set up here too as well. Let's go... You know what? I do want to show off DOS before we get too far. I thought this was pretty neat. So this one, if you're using a controller, this is going to be a lot of hit or miss. Probably more miss than hit. But I will say the default setup and controls out of the box for Doom 2 are fantastic. So you can run the legitimate DOS version of Doom 2 and play it with a controller very, very well, actually, which I never thought would be realistic. So just like modern gaming, you can use your right analog for turning, and your left analog for walking. Your R1 is going to be your fire. I would prefer it to be R2, and you might be able to customize that. Again, I like the new Pixie shader for this one. It just makes it feel like a old school monitor of the time of the age. If you want that authentic scanline feeling. Just gotta take these guys out early. Oh, sorry. My bad. We gotta switch this over every time. So you know what? I'm gonna restart it so you can see the whole shebang here again. One moment. Sorry. That's one thing I gotta figure out something for. I feel like I really gotta figure out with OBS. I mean, I guess I'll just start using the app on my phone again. Alright, I need to click in here. So start is going to be how you select through the menu, by the way. Alright, so here we go. You can see the CRT. Nice CRT shaders. Said it's really feels like the real deal here. Oh, we got company. Sorry, I was about to mess with my settings there. So, yeah, I was trying this with like Hexen and Duke Nukem, and it didn't seem like it was as friendly with a controller out of the box. So if you want to play DOS games in RetroBat, I would highly still recommend a keyboard and mouse nearby. Otherwise, if you're setting this up on a TV, then for the most part I would just avoid DOS unless you want to add this one specifically. I mean, feel free to try some others, but it didn't seem like most of them were going to be natively controller friendly. But Doom 2, surprisingly, it was controller friendly. You can hold L1 and you get this nice little radial menu to change your weapons. So I don't have a shotgun yet, but I can go back to chainsaw, and pistol pretty easily on the fly, which is a lot of fun. Again, I don't know if I'd recommend playing first-person shooters like PC with a controller, but you know, if that's your jam, you certainly can do it this way, which is pretty neat. Pretty neato indeed. So just play a little bit of this and then head back. Oh, we got a bunch of bad boys down there. Alright, hold on, I gotta deal with this guy first. Oh, I'm hurting here. Alright. These guys are effing me up. Alright. Yet another reason, I guess you would argue, for using mouse and keyboard with this game. Alright, we got the shotty. Let's get this. Miss. Miss! I probably wouldn't have missed that much using mouse and keyboard. Alright, we need some health badly. So we will go with this little secret here. I always wonder what that hole was for. I don't remember what that was for. But now it reminds me of pyramids in Egypt. Like, they got just random stuff like that. Nobody can explain. Alright, we didn't miss any health up here? I feel like we missed some health. Oh, that guy's shooting me in the ass. Alright. Definitely hit that switch. There we go. There's all the health. There we are. I remember, and I probably said this on one of my live streams, but I remember in middle school, I think it was middle school, around that time, this game came out, and some smartass installed it on one of the classroom computers at school and was playing it when the teacher was out. And we were just like blown away by this game. We're like, holy shit, look how brutal it is. And even this like load screen with the skeletons molding into each other, I just never seen anything like this. I was like, it felt like we were like smoking at school. It felt like something illegal we shouldn't be doing. It was cool. I mean, we really probably weren't supposed to be playing Doom at school, but We could be doing worse stuff. Out of shotties. There's got to be another guy in here, right? Yeah. I'm gonna take your shotgun. I feel like I always struggle to shoot that guy, even until I get that gate open. It's just waste ammo. Go down here. Now, if you wanted to do this like RetroBat with mods, I'm sure it's possible, but you're probably gonna have to do some research on how to set this up for mods. If, like, you say you wanted like the glowy water and all that stuff. I'm just gonna show sort of what you get out of the box with basic ROMs. I think all I did for DOS was I just dropped in the folder with the executables inside, and it just knew what to do. It launched the DOS box, and then you just point at, on first launch, you point at the main exe file, and you can say, hey, from now on I want you to auto start this exe file. That's why you didn't see that menu, because I had already set that up. Yeah, and then it'll just launch that exe every time. Make sure you pick the right one, otherwise you'll be stuck with that. Might have to add it again or something. Let's see, am I running? I don't think I'm running. That's run. So L2 is run. So it's going to be important to run at that part. Once you get this, all hell breaks loose. Oh, what? I fell. I'm just having too much fun with Doom 2 here. I personally started with Doom 2 and never played Doom 1. I've played it since, but Doom 1 wasn't my my first experience with the Doom franchise. It was always Doom 2. Which is fine. I think they're pretty similar overall. Doom 2, I think, is a little better with the demons and probably maps and stuff. But that's all opinion based. Somebody might say differently. So back at the beginning, I think we can open this up. Alright, we'll jump out here in a minute and show off some maybe some Sega CD next, or I haven't fully tested. I have so many of these systems going on, I forget which. Oh, that was a bad shot. How do you miss with a shotgun? Oh, no blue key yet. I think we have to go. Another guy. Health. We could definitely use that. What's there, guy? Yeah, the biggest downside to controller first-person shooting is how slow it is to turn around. You may be able to edit that in RetroArch. Maybe able to. Let's see if that'll even show up in my capture. Let me see. So normally you hit F1. Okay, yeah, you can hit F1. And you can affect some stuff here. My biggest gripe with RetroBat and Batocera is it seems like any settings you change in here, you can do per game, but as soon as you exit the game, it forgets it all. It's like the front end side is trying to override everything. So if there's not an option for it in the front end, you're probably going to fight with this a little bit. Like, you might have a setting you prefer to have always set in here. You probably have to go down a rabbit hole to figure out. I know I want to on the arcade because the stick drift is kind of bad, and so I have to go in there and turn down the analog dead zone. And I can play just fine after I do that, but it does not save it. Even if I save core overrides, setting overrides, it does not seem to stick. I think the point of this is so you can't screw up settings and ruin your build. It's always gonna kind of override and do its own thing, which is fine and all, but yeah, kind of painful if there's something specific you want to be able to do. Let me see here. I wanted to. Oh yeah. See if there's anything about analog speed. I'm not seeing it in here. So, backspace is going to be how you go backwards. It's not going to be escape. Escape will quit your game, I think. So backspace, let's go back to the main, like, sort of global settings for controllers. And look in here if there's anything for... It might be sensitivity, but that's going to affect both. I don't think I really want that. So yeah, I don't see. I'll have to GPT it or grok it. See if I can find an answer for that. Oh, we fell. Well, I didn't kill that guy? That's crazy. Alright, we got a blue key. Oh man, I am messed up. Oh, thank God there's some health down here. Just a little bit. And some ammo. I always hated this area because it's so dark. And we're out of here. Alright, so if you've never used RetroBat or Batocera, when you configure your controller for the first time, you're going to set up a hotkey, which I always set up as select. You can do whatever you want, but most people, I think, set up select or at least another button on their controller if they have extras. So I do select and start. We'll exit out of the game. And then I need to swap my screen over again. Super annoying. There we are. We're back. Put my mouse back over here. So there's some DOS for you. You can see DOS works very well, but again, might need a mouse and keyboard for most of those games. So we're going to jump over to Super Nintendo. Take a look at what we got going on over here. So we've got, I don't know how many games were made for Super Nintendo, but I think this is most of them. So you can mark some favorites in here. I'm not sure I was aware that there was a Batman Revenge of the Joker for Super Nintendo. I know there was one for NES, but this looks like a sort of a half-ass port of the NES game. It's like it's similar, but the levels don't look the same, and yeah, that's a shame. It only had 2 stars. Battletoads Double Dragon, I think that was pretty well received. And then Battle Maniacs. Oh yeah, God, I think I did play this. Beavis and Butthead. Awesome. Best of the Best. I wonder if this is based on the movie. Doesn't sound like it is, but certainly could be. Who remembers Bobby's World? Oh my God, that cartoon was so lame. Sometimes it was the only thing on, so you'd watch a few minutes of it. Blackthorn, this was a really cool game. I don't know a lot about it. All I know is it plays very similar to Flashback. If you like the Flashback game for Super Nintendo, the controls are pretty much the same. I think it's made by some of the same folks. I don't know. This says Blizzard. I think Flashback was made by a different group, but maybe they went on to be Blizzard. I don't know. Super Nintendo has a great big library, so I've been playing a little bit of Breath of Fire on here. And there's Breath of Fire 2, which looks even better, honestly. Captain America and the Avengers, such a great... I felt like this was such... Somebody probably... I mean, it's only got 1 star, so maybe there's a reason. But I remember thinking this played a lot like the arcade and was okay. But... Chrono Trigger, another... You know, this one's going to be really expensive, the physical game. It's got a full 5 stars. So I'll have to give this one a playthrough sometime. I played a little bit of it, but again, I wasn't a big turn-based gamer, but I think that's going to change here soon. Gotta add Contra, Alien Wars to favorites, even though I am dog shit at that game. We got Castlevania Dracula X. I did beat this one last year, the year before, but again with save states. That one's pretty hard to beat without. But you know what? Plenty of people out there who would say, whatever. So if you want to scroll quickly, R1 and L1 are going to page up and down. So you don't have to do every single game one by one. You can page a whole page down. Demon Crest. I've never beaten this, but I've played a fair amount of this. Awesome game. You get to play as different demons. They have varying different powers. This game's super cool. And again, the one for NES, I think L2 will go back a system to the left. So Gargoyles Quest 2 is like a prequel for NES, which is awesome. I love this game. I'm pretty sure it's like a prequel to Demon's Crest. So those 2 games are related. Both fantastic games, in my opinion. I never played ActRaiser. Gotta put that on my gaming list. Gotta get in there and play that one. Aerobiz, holy crap. There's just stuff in here I never knew existed, you know, for the longest time. So this is just a really neat way to get a look at all this stuff. Earthbound, that's going to be another expensive one. I don't even know what this game is really even about. I guess it's a turn-based RPG. Yeah, looks like it is. But you fight dogs and shit? That's so weird. We'll add it to our favorites, I guess. My only gripe with this is it takes you to the top. You gotta find your spot again. Might be a better way to do this. A little of this I've played, I liked. I love the movie. Cybernator, this is such a great game, sort of hidden gem I didn't know about. And then the other one is Metal Warriors. So Cybernator and Metal Warriors are almost the same. I think SNES is going to have a lot more higher rated games. Jed's Dread, that's a fun one. Wildcats, good grief, they had a game? Jim Lee's Wildcats, how cool is that? We got both Jurassic Parks in here. I feel like every time I rented Jurassic Park, it was this one and I did not like it. But it's got a good rating. So I probably just didn't have the patience for it. This one I never heard of. I don't know this one. Now sometimes you might get a weird scrape. Now this looks like it was a Japanese only release, so there's probably a good reason why. But if you wanted to change this one to be maybe more of a horizontal box, you can click and hold and scrape it and pick something else if you wanted to do that. If you wanted more uniform sort of look. Oh, this looks awesome. Oh, I'm going to have to play that. Let's see. Let's do like we did before and do other filters. Rating. Let's just check out 5-star. Let's look at the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Animaniacs? Oh boy. Diddy Kong Country 2 and 3. Interesting 1 never makes this list. Which I thought 1 was fantastic, and I still like it more than the sequels, but this is a series where every game was good. Got Final Fantasy 3, gotta throw this one on my list soon. So you could go through and mark like all these favorites if you want, I guess. Global Gladiators. This is a McDonald's game, is that good? Oh my god. So McDonald's came out with a game. I don't know if you know about this. Making Mac. And I think there's a Nintendo one too. I can honestly say I've never played this one. But somebody put like some decent effort into a McDonald's game apparently. Logic Bomb. Oh yeah, I've played a little bit of that one. Kind of neat. Secret of Evermore. I thought this was a turn-based, but I guess it's not. It's more of a action RPG maybe. There's Star Fox Weekend, which I think this was a competitor, sorry, a competition build of Star Fox. They would do competition, Star Fox competitions. I think that's what this was for. I think normal Star Fox is in here though for sure. Zelda, Legend of Zelda. So yeah, kind of a short list when it comes to 5 solid stars. Secret of Mana, there's a good one, right? This plays a little bit more like a Zelda game. Space Megaforce, that looks fun. Whoops, sorry. So while you're in here, you can, if you don't like that filter, you can go adjust your filter. You can add players, ratings. Let's do rating. Let's add 4 stars into the mix. There we go. We got a little bit bigger selection to pick from. Oh man, this one's got to go on my favorites list. Shadowrun. I rented this so many times as a kid. I really enjoyed this game. I liked how it was sort of more mature subject for Super Nintendo. You're getting like sniped by dudes out the windows, and it's like sort of a cyberpunk, semi-futuristic, figure it out story. You lose your memory. You got to figure out who did what to you. You're technically dead, I guess. You wake up in the morgue. Fun game. This looks like a pretty solid list. Great way to find, hidden gems yourself too. If it's not by word of mouth, you can browse through here yourself. I've tried this a few times. That did not end up liking it, but SNES got so many more Kirby games. It's wild. Ooh. This game was great. I had a blast with this game. I thought it was so stupid when I saw it. I was like, why do you have this? A friend of mine had this, and then I played it, and I just got addicted. Sat there playing it for hours. Lobo had his own. Oh, it was a fighting game. How about that? Some Madden games made the list. How about that? Usually sports games are crap after the season. Here's another turn-based RPG. Got some Mega Man showing up now. Metal Warriors, this is fun. I'm trying to think of the modern game that's like it. You can get out of the mech and walk around, do things, get into tight spaces if you need to hit a switch or something, and then get back in your mech. You can change mechs. It's fun. We might play a few minutes of that. I was just gonna browse down the list here. Obviously, I'll probably just play something I'm familiar with. This looks hard to play on SNES, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't recommend playing this one on SNES. Just get the PC version. This looks cool. I love this game. I might have to pop this one on for a minute. There's an actual Star Fox 2. I feel like this wasn't a US release. This may have only been released in Europe or Japan. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pop that in the comments if you know. But I don't recall seeing that one as a kid. Of course, you're also limited. Like I didn't get to buy a lot of games as a kid. I mostly rented. I had to rent pretty much everything I played, so I never really didn't beat any games. I just got got to sample some, see what I liked. Oh, this is so weird. That game. There's so many 4-star games in here. That's wild. We're just filtering for 4 and 5-star, and this list just keeps going. We're finally to the Z's. Oh man, I have this game. Love and hate relationship with this game. So difficult. Alright, so what should we play? We'll play something I'm gonna enjoy here, largely. I mean, just for the sake of getting to see what the shaders look like with the game most people have seen, we'll pop this one on. And we'll have to swap over the screen this time to... Hold on. Doesn't always want to see... There it is, it's finally showing up. Hold on. Come on. Might have to quit this game and come back. It does not want to let me capture that window. Alright, let me go back. So we're getting that screen as we should be. Try again here. Right here. Maybe I clicked out too soon. It's so temperamental, OBS. Really might need to. Maybe it's just... Come on. There it goes. Weird. See, if I want to do game view, it makes me do any full screen application, except it can't do the emulation station screen as any full screen application. I have to pick that one specifically. So, anyway. So, as you can see, this one, now what drives me a little bit crazy about these bezels is this one's showing Super Famicom. But I bet it's not too hard to change this to a authentic Super Nintendo. So we'll look at that in a second. Only because I don't want to fight with OBS right now. We'll just stay in and play a little bit. Haha! Jump before the message. There's a fella on here earlier that made a lot of comments, and I don't understand most of them. He just kept saying Xbox 360, Xbox 360, Xbox 360. He commented a bunch of emojis, and then Death Not Zombia Yahoo Gamer. Yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling that wasn't an English speaker, maybe. Now I'm playing with a wireless Xbox style controller, but if your focus is on NES or SNES, you could get that style controller and map it up. Oh, that's a load of crap. I do kind of prefer playing these older games with the more era-accurate style controller. It feels a little weird to hold an Xbox controller playing some of these old platformers, but it does the job. It's got the most options, you know. You get into a 3D game and then you don't have joysticks. It's kind of a pain. So I just have one controller to rule them all at the moment. Oh, you fool! You didn't duck. I was holding down and you didn't do it. I have to say, of all the games on SNES, I played the absolute crap out of Super Mario World. I played, so many of the mods. There's really only a handful that are really good, like remakes that could qualify as like a Super Mario World true sequel. I don't consider that official one a true sequel. It's sort of, the art style drives me crazy. It's like Yoshi's Land or whatever. It was good fun though. I feel like, you know, I do have like a retro gaming setup with an actual CRT TV and the real systems set up and all that. But I'll be honest, that's a real pain in the ass, and it takes up a ton of room in my basement. And I'm thinking, you know, I might get rid of that stuff, frankly. Turn some of this volume up. I feel like that's been a little too quiet. But yeah, I might sell that stuff off, or at least the majority of it. Reclaim some of my basement space, because this is a really, really nice way to play it, and you can get that sort of retro TV feel with the right setup like this, and this makes it so easy. And so I'm really debating how bad I really like that physical setup. True, that's going to be like your best, most authentic feeling setup, but nowadays it's fun to be able to stream or capture a clip of something, and I can do all of that right here on my main PC, gaming PC here. So it feels sort of, why hold on to all that crap if this takes up so much less space? I do still like having the physical arcades with the emulation stuff going on, but I may even downsize that setup at some point too. But it is fun to like have somebody over and play arcade style, you know, standing up, having a few beers, just getting into the gaming. That is still fun. I can't imagine doing that here, you know, sitting down. Or, you know, if you're set up, if you just want to set up a PC like a console, you could do that too. You got like a big HD TV and you want to set something up like this, you can certainly do that. But again, your main is probably not going to be ideal like that. It's the only one I think I'd leave out at that point. It'll play fine, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to feel like a real arcade game playing it on a normal controller. That's just me. Most people do not feel that way, I'm sure. At I definitely come from the era where if you played an arcade game and it was awesome as a kid, at the time, for a while there was nothing you could get at home that came close to what you could play at the arcade, and it was a very limited time frame. But yeah, if you saw something awesome at the arcade, you weren't gonna get a good port of it at home in most cases. And then I remember like daydreaming like how cool it'd be to have a room filled with arcade machines, you know, at the time. Like you'd feel rich. Like if you like when you saw the movie, I think the movie Big with Tom Hanks, he had a pinball machine and maybe an arcade, I forget, in his apartment, and I remember thinking that was so baller. I was like, oh my god, this guy's got his own arcade game at his house. That's crazy. Yep. Alright, we made some good progress. Let's see if we get a save here. Oh, we gotta do another level? Let's do another level. I am probably gonna wrap up here soon. It is a school night, right? As they say, it's a work night. Gotta work in the morning. But yeah, I really, man, I haven't streamed, especially on YouTube, in a while. I've mostly just been fidgeting, trying to figure out what the best way to do this was, and it was so obvious, and I was missing it for so long. I was definitely doing it the harder way. So I think it might be fun to honestly go over to the racing arcade one of these nights soon and show off a similar situation. Over there, what I've tried to do is just racing games and just pull out anything that's not a racing game and set that up as a specific build. I do have a reasonably modern PC on there, mostly just so I can play a lot of like modern racing games, because that's fun, of course, some VR. Yeah, I'm at the point where I want to combine the whole front end into one setup. So when you boot it up, it's going to go right into, you know, RetroBat. It's going to have all my Steam games in there for modern stuff. It's going to have all the retro stuff. For the longest time on that machine, I was running Play Night, which is a really cool front end. That is a nice front end if you don't have a lot of retro gaming needs. If you have like a lot of modern games, and let's say you're not a big fan of Steam Big Picture mode, or let's say you're not a big fan of Steam. Let's say you get a lot of your games on, I don't know, some other platform, or some weird combination. Play Night was super cool for modern stuff. You could do some retro, but what I found was it was pretty limiting. For example, I just couldn't get any main. The biggest hang-up was I couldn't get any authentic arcade games for MAME to set up in Play Night and launch those easily. It's like Play Night. That was like the one system it couldn't do, and that was kind of a must. I was like, I gotta have MAME games on here. So Play Night, it didn't end up being the best route in that case. So what I ultimately decided was we need to go back to the drawing board, and maybe I'll use Emulation Station. So I picked Emulation Station DE because I was under the impression that was going to be a little more out-of-the-box friendly than plain Emulation Station. And then while that might be true, I wouldn't say it was much more friendly. It was easily hours of setup, manual setup. Just getting shaders and bezels alone was just so much work. It could be I was just doing it wrong, but I was just, man, I was just fed up with it at a certain point. I was like, I'm just sinking hours into this. It's not really any better. A lot of stuff didn't want to... I'd say the worst part about Emulation Station DE is, you know, if you want to run like PS2 games, you got to do all the emulator setup yourself. You got to do the configs. You got to go into your like configuration files, set up the URLs for the stuff. URLs meaning file paths. I mean, it was just becoming such a time suck, and then you do all that and it still wouldn't work. More than half the time, we just had such a hard time getting PS2 to run, and then anything more specific like GameCube. It was a very similar game of just try again. It just lost all of its fun after a while. So then I found RetroBat here for Windows. I was like, oh my god, this is the way to go. So we're going to do a save, jump back out into RetroBat, show off a few more features there. Let's see if I get a save here. Should be getting a save. The demented Iggy Koopa. I can't think if we've seen Iggy Koopa in any of the Mario movies. I think the new Mario movie's gonna have all the Bowser's kids. Like Bowser Jr., right? I don't know if we're gonna see all these others that were like staples in Mario 3, Super Mario World. Alright, we got a little save, so we're gonna back out, and for some reason Steam likes to pop up every time I do this. Gotta get Emulation Station. There he goes. So we're back into RetroBat, which is, if you're just joining late or you skip through, it's sort of a all-in-one sort of build of Emulation Station and RetroArch, and it just sort of, somebody's gone through all the work to get this all set up where it works out of the box really well. So if you add a new system like GameCube, for example, or you add some ROMs in here, when you go to launch a game, it's going to be like, oh, you need Dolphin Emulator? Do you want me to install that for you? You're like, yes, and it'll just install it, and you're ready to go. Like, it just, as long as you have your BIOS files, it's going to be your biggest hang-up. Make sure you get all the BIOS files, get a BIOS file pack, drop that in, and then RetroBat's going to take care of the rest. It's just going to work, which is awesome. Yes, I do want to pull this up, actually. So we looked at Nintendo, Super Nintendo. We'll look at briefly at Nintendo 64. Got such a great collection in here. I was a super big fan of Nintendo 64. I remember when this came out. I mean, I definitely was dabbling with PC gaming by this point in time, but to have a 3D console, I remember. Check out Perfect Dark. This intro is so epic. Oh shit, we gotta switch it over. Sorry. Might have to start it over so we get this. Come on. OBS is such a pain in the ass about this. So instead of quitting, we can just hit F1, hit restart. That is so cool. morph the Nintendo 64 logo, the N, into the shape of the perfect dark, the P and the D. That is so cool. Stuff like that you forget, and then you see it again, you're like, I didn't forget that, or maybe I did, but I remember it now suddenly. That's crazy.
Why the big hurry?
If Dr. Carroll is not extracted tonight, Datadyne will put him through mind conditioning, and we'll lose our best chance of finding out what Datadyne are up to.
Are they all expendable?
Don't joke. You have to be careful, Joanna. Code keys will only operate while the owner is alive. If you kill them, the key is useless. Armed guards are a different matter, of course.
What's the target location?
Work your way down the building to the ground level. Dr. Carroll will be in a research lab somewhere in the underground facility.
How will I recognize him?
We don't have an image.
Start and what did I press? I pressed something. Uh-oh. I still got spacebar. I didn't hit spacebar, but apparently I did. Spacebar is your fast forward, so if you have your keyboard out, you might hit something like that occasionally. So this one, I like that it's got the bezel, the N64 system. I like that a lot. Sure. So this is a game. I think you required a game pack to play it. If you didn't have the game pack, you could only play multiplayer, which sucks so bad. It's funny, emulation always ends up, oh, this is cool. So, you're not gonna have, perfect, modern controls, but at least the right analog does let you strafe some. It's still gonna be a little, wonky. It's not gonna feel like a modern first-person shooter. You might be able to figure out something with the controls to make that better, but it's playable. You can get used to it. It's not too terrible. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not as familiar with Perfect Dark as I am with GoldenEye. This is one I've been meaning to sit down and spend some time with. Did we do something there? Not sure. But I have to say, this looks pretty good, especially with the scan lines, the shader. Softens it up a little bit. Makes it a little more digestible to look at. Such a cool game. I think I remember renting this game and then finding out, oh, you need a damn game pack to play it. Being really annoyed with that. Of course, they didn't rent it with it, or they didn't know. They didn't know any better. Neither did I, apparently. I have to say, this looks pretty impressive for N64. Pretty cool. It's viewable, It's serviceable. That's where we came from, right? Not too shabby.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
Have to get capped.
You won't shoot me, foolish child. Don't you know who I am? Let's see how you deal with security.
I knew it. Not supposed to do that. I love how the game engine is the exact same as GoldenEye. It's all the same controls. Look like a door, but I guess not. Or like an elevator.
Don't shoot!
A board mission. So there's Perfect Dark. Let me swap back out to specific window. There we go. Alright, at least I figured out how to do this quicker. Quake 2, Rainbow 6, maybe. This is another one. PC is going to be a lot more superior, even though it's very old. Very, very vintage game. I would still recommend the PC version. Ready to rumble boxing. Like I always saw this for rent, but could never rent it. Resident Evil 2. It's pretty fun. What? Might update that game artwork. StarCraft 64, how cool. This is one I really... oh yeah, I played this on PlayStation. By the time this game came out, I finally had a PlayStation 1 and got this game for PlayStation 1. Kind of debatable. I feel like Nintendo 64 had slightly less rough graphics, like they were a little cleaner. But PlayStation definitely just started to obliterate the market. It still does. Ever since then. Alright, well, so we saw some N64. Let's check out some GameCube, huh? So I thought we'd throw in this Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. This is pretty cool. I didn't know about this till more recently, or if I did, I forgot. But Metal Gear Solid, it's the first game that most people are familiar with for PlayStation 1, but they did sort of a remake of it, I guess you would say, for the GameCube. And looking at it is super cool because, I mean, talk about an upgrade in graphics. PlayStation 1, you know, it's got its charm. I love it. Great game. Even the graphics, I can live with them. I'm fine with them. But this was impressive to see and check out. Finally, do a little bit of the intro here. It's kind of a long intro. I was going to say let's watch the intro, but we might only watch some of it.
The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by next-generation special forces being led by members of Foxhound. They are demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss, and they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
So this whole intro is like different from the PS1. It's kind of cool. You get to see. It's almost like another camera angle of the scene in the sub.
You will have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the President of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike and stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV.
seen this in PlayStation 1.
After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim.
This is pretty cool. It kind of adds a little
Special Forces
detail.
Unit Foxhound, your former unit, and one that I was the commander of.
It's kind of cool. It adds a little more detail to some of the scenes that you hadn't seen before. Might even be a little more dialogue mixed in. It seemed like it was largely the same, but some of that did seem like new dialogue. I love this menu too of the snakes. It's so cool. And the name of the game just kind of was better. Twin Snakes, because you know you got your clone you're fighting in this game. So I'm just gonna throw it on easy. Get a little different radar selections going on here. You can do off if you're hardcore. You can do type 1 for novices, where it'll kind of display all the time. And you can do your standard radar. Games there. We'll just throw in basic settings here. This is cool. It's like they took the PS1 game, threw it on GameCube, and that gave it basically what I'd equate to like PS2 level graphics. So it's the upgrade for this game you may have never played, you know. Just gonna skip ahead here.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Just gonna skip through all that. So one thing I thought was super impressive and cool, a nice little detail that you didn't get, or at least I don't remember. Maybe I'm just wrong. The first game is when you go into first-person mode, and you have your mask on from swimming. You still, you know, get this like sort of yellowish view until you take the mask off. I thought that was super cool. To walk through the water will leave footprints. So yeah, that's cool. You know, the graphics just have a little bit smoother overall appearance. You can make out faces. I wouldn't say this quite, well, I don't know, the GameCube apparently had better graphics than PS2. One of them had more memory though, maybe the PS2. I forget which, but I was doing a breakdown, and so if you want to play this game, you guys not calling me. He's pissed.
Snake, don't forget this is a covert operation.
There's a button to just skip all the dialogue if you know all of it. There he goes. There we go. Good thing these guys are dumb. Have to wait for that second fella though. Uh-oh.
Who's there?
That was my... I forgot, that was my opportunity to get on the elevator. Shit. Already fucking up. I kept thinking that guy was just gonna disappear. Oh man, no way this guy doesn't see me. Oh, now he does. We're gonna lose already. Alright, I need to lose some bad guys here. Shit. Just trying to find ration button. Alright, let's
Answer me! Snake! Snake!
oh my god, that's funny. Even the game over screen's a little different. I have to say, that game over screen is iconic in the PS1. They should have used that. Should not have used this garbage with the PS3 wave. I did want to at least make it into the elevator here. Show off a little of the details of the character's face. Just really reminds me of like Snake Eater level graphics, which are pretty serviceable in my opinion. Yes, we know.
Snake.
Yep.
Is there somebody there?
Oh my god. Shit! Let's lose this guy.
Who's there? Enemy sighted. Requesting backup unit.
What? How did they see me? Alright, well, I guess we're not gonna get that far tonight. Too much trouble. Losing these guys. I played it the other night. I had no trouble with this.
Something over there.
There we go. I feel like this hiding spot is just not as good as it used to be. Where's that damn elevator? Shit. Not sure it's gonna come down if we're in evasion mode here. There we go. Real rookie moves here, I know. Alright, well this homie... I think we just had weird timing that first time around. I think we're having weird timing again. I need this guy to turn the F around. I think I messed up again.
Who's that?
And you can't start the elevator. Okay, anyway, that's that. I'm not the guy to show off that game or anything. Alright, let's go back. Anyways. Super cool version of MGS. Yeah, I had no trouble with that the first night. Just gonna give me a lot of trouble. I was pretty sure if I ran out there, that guy was gonna turn around and see me again, but I don't know. I guess I could have just done that. So yeah, you can load up your Nintendo GameCube games. You can even run Switch. That's super cool. There's a little bit of a setup process involved with that one. This is one that it's not gonna just install the emulator for you. You kind of have to go do some of that work. But it does work. It does work. We can even try. Let's see if Luigi's Mansion will actually run. This one might be harder to capture because it's gonna pull up Different window. Might actually have to pick. Let's see if this works. There it goes. I feel like running Switch games. How do I put this? Like they run, I guess, I mean, I don't have a real super powerful PC. Oh, it quit. So I am still setting these up, so something going on there I'll have to sort out. But what I was going to say is, it seems like they run fine after I run them once. On this PC, actually, probably run a lot better since it's pretty powerful compared to all my other PCs. But if you have a slightly older machine, maybe older GPU, if you play through a level the first time, it might be a little hiccupy. The next time you play it, it's like it, I don't know, loads that into its GPU memory or something and runs a lot better. But you may not see that at all. So here we are in Sega Genesis. This is another one I feel like looks pretty good with, let's just do something familiar. Some Sonic. Knuckles. Something like that. This should look pretty good with, I really like this bezel. This is a good looking bezel. Oh, sorry. Let's switch the specific window again. One second. There it is. So yeah, this is pretty good looking bezel. The shader I think is super nice and appropriate era. I didn't grow up with the Sega Genesis, so I'm just definitely not as familiar with the games. At least the ones specific to Genesis. Some games, I mean, like I'd go over to my friend's house and play very specific ones that I couldn't get on Super Nintendo, for example. I don't even know how to do this. This is cool. I remember playing. Oh, come on! That bubble protected me. I just remember playing X-Men and Spider-Man. I was a huge like Marvel nerd. It seemed like for the longest time I could not get a good X-Men or let's do the bouncy thing. It seemed like you could not get a really good Marvel game on Super Nintendo until that X-Men Apocalypse game came out. That one was pretty decent, made by Capcom. But there were things I did not like about it. That being said, didn't mean it wasn't a good game. I kind of got fed up with some things about it. Oh, I have to say, some of my favorite online videos is when somebody biffs it, like falls real hard, and they make Sonic coins fall out. Somebody edits it, makes Sonic coins fall out of them. Cracks me up every time. Sega had a good run with Genesis and Dreamcast. They just didn't quite make it. I feel like they definitely were like kings in the arcade world for sure. So many of your, especially games that you would like sit in or ride, oftentimes ended up being a Sega game. They were always kind of pushing that idea. There's one of those. I don't know why, but when Sega came out with the Genesis, I don't know why I didn't feel excited about it. Something about it just felt, I don't know, not cool. I don't know, that's not the right word. Because it honestly had more, honestly seemed to have more kind of grown-up titles. So I should have liked it, but something about the Genesis just sort of turned me off. It's like, I don't think I'm gonna bug my parents for this system. I really was. Maybe it was brand loyalty. Like I was just, you know, I had the Nintendo, I had the Super Nintendo. Like, why am I gonna go out and get a system that's barely better than the Super Nintendo? I don't know. It didn't feel justifiable, I guess. If maybe their first system had been 3D but ahead of the N64, it might have. I guess it was. They had the Sega Saturn, maybe was ahead of the N64. I don't know for sure. That definitely feels more like the 3DO era. Yeah, I'm not super good at these games. I feel like I've always struggled with Sonic games. I didn't really like his movement style. He sort of slides backwards. I fucking hated that. Didn't mean I hated Sonic games. I just didn't love his movement. Like if he hits something, he'll be running backwards. This guy's like got a gravity machine, huh? Knuckles. Mario power, like star power. Yeah, so that's Genesis. Let's jump back out here. Did that actually quit? There it goes. Sorry, let's switch over specific window. There we go. Alright, so we'll jump into Mega CD. So I tried to pick like top 10 games that were unique to Sega CD and weren't necessarily out for other systems. Like they mostly were Sega exclusives or whatever. I don't really know what we should play. I've played this. Terminator's pretty cool. This is probably the best Terminator game you were ever going to get until that most recent one came out. Terminator 2D. Finally puts this one to shame, but this was the best Terminator game you were going to get for a very long time. Well, I mean, aside from, you know, more modern titles, of course, but oh, let me switch over. Come on, there it goes. I have to say Sonic was a pretty smart flagship character for Sega. He seemed like similar to Mario, but just different enough, you know, to seem different. So yeah, we've got the Sega CD bezel going on here. That's pretty cool. I have no idea what's best to pick here. So Snatcher, Cyberpunk Adventure. So this is definitely something I would have played at the time. Joypad. That was a weird menu. I was like, how do you move forward? Or you just hit start. Entirely coincidental. I think what I've heard about this game is it was definitely trying to be like Blade Runner, as is all Cyberpunk games, but I think this one was a little on the head with some of the imagery, at least. Blade Runner might have been overdoing it a little bit there. So this is I mean, even that logo there on the glass, Junker, it's very Blade Runner-esque. A beautiful way to investigate the operator. She's protected by a shield. The poster. This is cool. I do like games like this. I just need to make more time. Talk.
I'm Gillian Seed. I've been assigned to Junker headquarters effective today.
He's got the trench coat.
You're Mr. Seed. Please forgive me. My name is Mika Slayton. I'm the administrative assistant and operator here at Junker headquarters. Very pleased to meet you.
Let's look at her. So there's some dialogue that doesn't actually have an audio. You just told me that. It's about Junkers. So yeah, this probably isn't the best streaming material. I do like it. Games like that though. I may do
fine, and you can call me Gillian.
a dedicated. Let's do some.
Okay, Gillian.
I may do a dedicated stream for that game one night. Sega Saturn. So this is when I guess Sega finally got into the 3D game. Cause I don't think CD had any 3D games. I could be wrong. Again, I just didn't follow Sega as closely at the time, but there's definitely some 3D games going on here. Now,
Fight! Ready, go!
there's Megamix. Let's see if this one works. I have not tested these, so looks like it works. Come on, load it up. There it goes. Huh. Slow. I don't know if this particular game works or not. I'm not sure if it locked up or let's back out.
Fight!
Let me try.
Ready, go!
Let me just try another one here. Oh, it does work back and forth.
One. Ready.
Now it wants to switch over. Maybe not. Come on, there it goes. Loading, please wait. This one seems to want to play well, so arcade mode. I do think the emulation here is, whoa, it's fast. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, the emulation's weird. Not getting the right audio. So you might have a little trouble with might have a little trouble with Sega Saturn. Might be a little tweaking you need to do. So I will say, between when you start getting into the 3D games, you might need to do a little tweaking here. So this is where you might want to be more specific about the emulator you're picking. So for the whole console itself, you can hit select if you're viewing the games for Saturn, and you can go to advanced system options and try out different emulators and see which ones sort of work better on your system. I will say on RetroBat, which is what this build is, you get a lot more emulator options, and it's probably going to just install it if it doesn't have it already. If you pick this one, for example, and then you launch the game, it's going to be like, hey, do you want to install this emulator? And you go, yep, and then it does it. Batocera, however, is probably only going to list like 2 or 3 of these, and they're going to be pre-installed. And you might have trouble getting it to run. So sometimes I find, especially with 3D games, if I pick a specific emulator and then test it out and see if it works with my particular system better than another one. Also, I will mention, if you're working in Batocera on like an older machine, it might be worth going into, so one of these, say, where is it? You're basically going to be looking for graphics API or something similar. It's probably not in here on RetroBat. Like I said, these menus are very similar, but a little bit different. So you can see I'm not seeing that option here. And depending on your emulator, see, some of these options will go away and change. So like this one, let's see. And it might be, you know, it might be a RetroBat versus Batocera thing too. But basically what I was going to say is on much older systems, like an older laptop, if you're trying to do this on a laptop which maybe just only has Intel graphics, what I found in the research I did was you're gonna have more luck with like if you can find the graphics API option in here, pick OpenGL, so it'll force using OpenGL. That's gonna be your best bet for it to work, and it's gonna be kind of hit or miss. If it's a really old laptop, even OpenGL may not be good enough because the drivers are gonna be a little bit outdated for Batocera compared to RetroBat, and that's just because Batocera is a Linux build and probably just doesn't get the same drivers, exact same set of updated drivers or what have you, and that might only last for a little while, I don't know. But I know, like, pretty old PC I stuck into one of my arcades, like I couldn't get PS2 and Dreamcast or GameCube to work because that computer's just too old, and frankly, without a dedicated GPU, you're just gonna have trouble with some of those 3D games. Now, another laptop I have, which is still pretty old, but it's capable of running RetroBat. I was able to run GameCube and Dreamcast. Could not run PS2, but I could run up to Dreamcast and GameCube on that one. So, kind of have to play around with some of these settings, see, you know, what you can get to work. I do think it's a good idea to look up the model of whatever machine you're using. Type that into like ChatGPT or Grok or whatever you use, some AI, and be like, hey, up to what systems in RetroBat or Batocera or whatever you're planning to use, up to what systems is this PC going to be capable of running? And then, you know, it might ask you, you know, what GPU is it? And I'll show you one way you can do this on Batocera and RetroBat is you can hit start, game settings, start, system settings, information, and you can get a breakdown of the system. So even if you replace the whole OS with Batocera and you don't really know what that PC was, like say you saved it from recycling, you can get an idea of what this is. So it'll tell you what version of Windows you're running, or your operating system. In Batocera's case, it's going to say like Linux here. Give you like a little breakdown of disk storage, the CPU you're running. So you can plug some of this information in after you've installed, or look it up ahead of time, whichever. And, you know, as you're trying to get things working, you can work it out sometimes with AI, to just talking to AI and be like, hey, what's realistic for this system here? Now, you know, this is only an i5, but it is 2.6 gigahertz. It's not super great, but it's you know, it's reasonably modern with Windows 64, OpenGL, and it's got a 2080 Ti RTX. So this is pretty acceptable to run most stuff, I think, with a little bit of tweaking. Like I said, though, if you're running on an older PC, you might have to toy with these settings a bit. And I will also say, older PCs especially will be picky about shaders. So if you find that you turn on a shader and it's running like crap, you should try another shader. And I will show you which shader you should use if you do end up having that problem. Game settings, shader. So like CRT New Pixie is pretty high intensity if you don't have a dedicated GPU. This one's going to slow down on like a laptop, for example. It's an older office laptop or something. So in that case, I would recommend using ZFast. Still looks pretty good. Looks like pretty good scan lines. It's just not going to have like the extra effects, and it's not going to be curved per se. But I'd say it looks pretty good. But if you have the GPU power, then I'd say use CRT New Pixie or CRT Royal. Those are great go-tos. For shaders, that's what I usually go to. There's also one called Geom, CRT Geom, but you may have to, with these builds anyway, you may have to install it. Under updates and downloads, you can look under Content Downloader, and you can further customize this some more. You can add some specific games on the fly. I think some of these are fan-made. You can directly download some fan-made stuff for different systems. You get to the Doom shareware. So if you just want to test something out before you load up some games, you can do that as well. You can come in here and just install, you know, some free legal shareware stuff. You can do some intro videos. You can add different intro videos, although you can add those via the file browser as well. If you're on RetroBat, of course, you're on Windows, so you can do that pretty easily. Or if you're on Batocera, you can add them via this way. these are good enough for you, or if you want, you can enter the little file browser Batocera has. There's also some extra tools and stuff here in RetroBat, at least. Light gun plugins. This is pretty cool. There's some manuals. I have not messed with these. Marquee manager. So if you have a marquee, if you're setting this up in an arcade, I think you can set that up with a tool like this. And then I think you just set up what screen it's going to. Shaders. Here's a way to add some extra shaders, which is pretty neat. I think I did this on one of my builds. I added a few of these and was trying them out. Again, if it's sort of a limited PC, I'd stay away from these. Okay, have we played... Yes, we played a Sega Saturn game. Let's jump over to Dreamcast. See what we got for Dreamcast. Oh my god, this game is so cool. So I know Sega has a... Let me get the screen to... Let's see if it picks it up here. It's just so picky for some reason. Does not want to do... There it goes. I have to fiddle with it. OBS. Sega had an arcade game, a real arcade game of Die Hard. Bruce Willis's Die Hard. It was a fully 3D arcade game, fighter, beat 'em up style. Actually, a really great game. Like, I wouldn't shit on it at all. But this game, Dynamite Cop, like took that idea and took it to like level 10, and it's so cool. It just goes so over the top. It's very, very similar, if not the same, and in most ways. I just have to laugh playing this game. It's so crazy and over the top. I don't know what the story is with this.
Some modern-day pirates have hijacked a huge cruiser. They're holding 2,000 hostages inside, including the president's daughter. We have to invade the ship, clear the pirates, and rescue the hostages, especially the president's daughter.
Okay, so Dynamite Cop. This is definitely a knockoff of Die Hard. I don't know what the story is with this. Maybe somebody wasn't satisfied with the Die Hard game that was out. Maybe they didn't think they were making one. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But this game is hilarious and awesome. So we're just going to do... You got like 3 characters to pick from. Let's pick the first guy. You get to pick which way you want to approach the ship. I think the boat is kind of fun. So I've set this up on my arcade because I was talking with ChatGPT and it was like, this is a great game for your arcade. You can play it 2-player with your kids, but I am going to just show it. Like even some of the transitionings when you go from room to room is spot on like Die Hard. You'll do like a kick or something to knock somebody out. And if you miss, then you've got to, fight that person. So it'll just sort of auto-animate to the next area. So I thought that was going to be a... You get a gun all of a sudden. I'm missing... So if you're working on like an arcade build and you start adding 3D games, I highly recommend this. This is just a blast. Like, what is going on? This guy's wearing a turtle shell?
Poor baby.
I I'm not exactly sure how it's done, but you can do like these grapple moves, which are just so... I did the wrong button. See, I missed. Now I'm gonna have to fight this guy. You have the opportunity to kind of like one-shot him. If you don't. Yeah, it's triangle is kick, so it's hard to remember. So let's jump. It doesn't give you much time to figure out the moves. These two bitches are just shooting. There we go, there's a grapple move. This guy's just rolling up casually with a bazooka or something. And one of these guns is like a nuke gun. It just nukes the whole boat. It's hilarious. I'm trying to find it. Ugh, I can't move. That one. What? And they're still not dead? And dude, what's going on with it? What is this guy wearing? Oh, look, he just slapped me a bunch. Yeah, that's right, sucker. Got a spray can. Ho ho ho! I have a machine gun now.
Hurry up with that bomb! And where is that girl? Find her and bring her to me.
Guy's got extra teeth. I love this game. It's so stupid and fun. This is not gonna be like... This is not Metal Gear, it's very arcadey. It just reminds me of like an arcade shooter, except you don't have to rely on it being a shooter. Just reminds me of like Virtua Cop or something like that. It's goofy, over the top, great fun. Now, I did not grow up with the Dreamcast, so if you did and this is not a surprising game, just let me know. Oh, I pressed the wrong button again, son of a bitch. Look, this guy's taking a piss. I love this part. Still haven't really figured out what those do. I love the bow and arrow. That's so random and bizarre. How about a plunger to the face? Why not? So I know you can pick up the urinals and hit these guys with the urinals. Is that homie wearing a towel? There we go. Urinal time. Urinal to the face. There we go. It's awesome. Got him! Great success. So you normally have to stop in that room and fight that guy if you miss. It's like a lot of bondage people on this boat. What kind of boat is this? I love some of those grappling moves. I'll say some of the 3D here is a little crude, and I don't mean like visually as much as I mean like trying to focus on a enemy even with, you know, a modern day arcade control, or sorry, console controller, Xbox controller. It's just a little difficult. Get him to look the right way and engage the right enemy. It's a little challenging, but overall it plays pretty good if you're willing to deal with a little wonkiness. You know, it's an old game. Back then we just dealt with stuff like that. Didn't have these high-end PlayStation 5 controllers. You only have like a few seconds to pick up all the loot, and then it just... Oh shit. It got my legs. I keep confusing jump with kick. Big old sumo cook. And he always does some move that... So after he falls, you want to like get out of the... So he's gonna like push and launch himself at me. Oh! Throw the gun. Let's beat this guy with his own fish. You like sushi? Oh, I have pinned myself here. Oh shit, should not have done that. Oh, that was close. Let's pick up these rice cookers. There we go. Oh, that did some damage. This is just a power-up. I need to figure out how to use power-ups, I guess. Oh, and he throws grenades. A cook with grenades, why not? Oh, see, he always gets you. There we go. Grenade! 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 Oh, I didn't see those till the last minute. There, we got some health, that's good.
Haven't you found her yet? Never mind. It's time.
I just now saw that comment. Why was 32-bit better than the 64-bit generation? I don't know. I don't know. I think 3D was just so new. I think developers just had a hard time like envisioning what a game would be like in 3D because they'd never seen one really hardly before, you know? These guys had it figured out. You just throw apples and shit at people's faces. Pick up a gun, just throw that shit. It's so comical and great. Oh, we're almost dead. The more, what is that, salt? The more clothing your hero loses, I guess the closer he is to dead. So slowly loses jacket and shirt. Very Die Hard-esque. Oh, look at this, he's just throwing salt in their face. Who decided, you know what? That's what this guy's gonna do. He'll be able to pick up any mundane object. Oh, I didn't get that gun. I think this is as far as I've gotten before. Amazing. What is that, a spear gun? Need that health bad. I don't know if you can hurt these guys when they're on the floor or what. Oh, what? No, I'm almost dead. The fish chops up. Come on, this guy's almost done. This will be fun to play 2-player. Like, I gotta do a stream of this on the arcade. My son's gonna think this is so wacky.
Let's go.
What? Was right? I didn't get a chance to look at it. Ugh. Failure. Oh, bazooka time. Nuke. How about another one? Just nuke this place up. Oh shit, there's fire coming through the floor. Get out of here. Oh, this is like Commando. Bazooka from Commando. Oh, that's awesome. He's so slow moving with it though. Need the power up. Need that health before this guy dies. There we go. Got the health. Go, 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 go! With this weapon. There we go. Got a new handgun. Oh, what is going on here? Oh, we're gonna have to use this. Oh, I don't think that was hurting him. But I was pressing fire. What are these things? Okay, harpoon's gotta work, right? On the Kraken. Let's throw it at that bitch ass. Oh, you could just punch the Kraken too, that works. Oh, I'm hurting, I'm dying. I don't know how many continues you get. I have to look this up and see if it was an actual arcade game, because it definitely feels like it would have been. Oh, he's spitting ink at me. That was going quick. If I could just go a little further. Oh, shit. I'm gonna get that weapon back and try it again. Not a lot of strategy here. Just put yourself in harm's way. Shoot this Kraken in the face. Alright. Get our pistol back. Is this gonna be jump or kick? Jump or kick? Jump or kick?
Wait!
Now what do we have here?
Don't move!
Oh, jeez. Awful looking. Very unfortunate looking. Oh. Oh, come on. Okay, so it's doing the crawling for me. I was trying to push up and that wasn't necessary. The guy's playing the slots. This is pretty much Vegas, right? Oh, that guy got me. Beat it. This is so funny. It's like so 90s action movie-esque. It's like, yes, aren't all fights just like this? No! Oh, what? They kicked me in the nuts? No fucking way. I think this looks great for its age. It's just got so much, I don't know, charm and uniqueness to it. Kick! Oh, come on, I did it! Oh, right into the dirty pool. That's embarrassing. Here, have a table. Our server will be with you shortly. I gotta figure out what the combos are in this. Like trying different buttons. Right into the water, that's right. God, that guy's weird looking. Oh, and he missed. Is he wearing a crab? He must have been like posing as a staff entertainment or something. That was the stupid shit like that in the 90s movies. We're gonna infiltrate. We're gonna pretend to be crabs and then take over this ship. It's not very believable today. Very believable back then, I guess. Caution, left. Great success. Throw him overboard. Yes. Alright, yeah, I need to wrap this up. What the hell are those guys doing? So, since this has been so much fun, and I don't want to lose my progress, I'm going to do a save state here. We can come back to that, hopefully. So, do tell if you've ever played Dynamite Cop, let me know. Not the most in-depth game, obviously, but it's very entertaining. A lot of these I picked as, like, the intention was to put them on the arcade, which I did do. So it's kind of like a lot of fighting games and brawlers and stuff, so these are... Probably do some live streams from the Megacade. But definitely not everything. Kind of pick some stuff that looked fun, so. PlayStation, as we all know, which was the most popular game, console at the time. And currently, still is. It's the 5th iteration. We got some fun ones. These are some personal picks. I thought were so cool. What's Fighting Force look like? Oh yeah. It's more of like a third person. So I think this one might be on N64 too. I think at least the first one is. Crusader, I love this game. It's really a PC game, so this is not as good as, like, the graphics are definitely better on the old PC game. DOSBox version, be a DOS game, which I do have in DOS, but that takes some extra setup because it requires a CD and all that, so you'll have to sort that out. Future Cop, this is basically Ed 209 on steroids. He's a cop and just goes around just murderizing people. GP Police, G Police. This is fun. I always just got to play the demo of it, and I thought it was... This might be one of the first sort of semi-open world 3D games I ever got to play. And it was kind of mind-blowing at the time. I remember trying to get this to work on my PC, and it didn't want to run it for whatever reason. Play for a little bit and then crash. But I thought this game was epically cool. Then we got Metal Gear, of course, the original Metal Gear. Can't go wrong with that one. And then Police Knots, which I've heard via comments. So many comments. I think this was a Japanese-only release. But the intro song to this is the same as Metal Gear. So you might check that out. And they said this is a great game. It's like Police in Space or something. I don't know, that doesn't look like space, but... It's more of a heavy story-driven... Kind of like that other game we were playing a minute ago. 2, Resident Evil. I think I started to play this, so we'll pop into this one for a second. Just show off. I don't think I had the shaders set, so I do want to talk a second about some options you might want to. Let's see, do I have a load state? I don't think I did. I think I just did a retro arch. Save state's go to load. Yeah, it's not finding it. There we go. I think I forgot the first game had that live action FMV sequences. So funny. Maybe that's what did this one under. I don't think people like it nearly as much as Resident Evil 2. It's just too corny or something. So yeah, since the save states aren't working, you might want to run this with at least use the in-game save typewriter thing. So it's taking a hot minute.
I don't know what happened.
Barry,
So,
where's Barry?
You know, this isn't a good candidate.
I'm sorry, but he's probably
for what I wanted to show.
No.
But I thought I would play a second. I can't skip
What is
this.
that?
I'll go and check.
I'll go and check.
Okay, Jill and I will stay in the hall in case of an emergency.
Great idea. Go check by yourself. Great idea.
Chris?
It's like every horror movie.
Take care.
Take care. Don't get all sentimental. So what I was gonna say is this one I don't think you're gonna see a big difference. But you do have some upscaling options with RetroBat and Batocera, both of them. Take it. Take the shield. But I think this one's going to be always kind of low poly because of the style gameplay we're playing with here. Sorry, I may not have even had that up. I will make sure. But I do think a good candidate for looking at that. Oh, I don't have it on here. Dang it. I only have it on the the arcade machine. This might be a good candidate. So what I was going to show you is if you hit select while you're in one of your 3D consoles, go down to Advanced System Options. You can set a specific emulator. So I think in this case, LibRetro Swan Station will give you this option if you don't want to do auto. And you can go down to internal resolution and double, triple, quadruple it, whatever your system can run, and it'll look surprisingly better than it just like has better access to those graphic assets and textures, and doubles or triples the resolution. It does a great job. It looks really good. My son and I were playing Bloody Roar, and Batocera I think sort of auto does it out of the box. I was like, this looks really good for a PS1 game, and then I realized it was just sort of auto doubling or tripling the internal resolution. So that's cool. Play with this. You do up to like what, 4K? You know, just be careful, it might crash, you know. So if you set this and you forget, don't forget to go back and put it back to auto or 1x. 1x is going to be your standard, you know, whatever default PlayStation resolution was, like 640 by 780 or whatever, 720 or something. So yeah, that's cool. I was going to try and show this off. Let me see if I can do... This may not work at 4 times, but we'll pop open. I haven't tried Fighting Force, so I don't know for sure if this one even works. Just have to keep kind of going back and forth on the capture here. There we go. So obviously, like your menus and stuff are like flat graphics. They're gonna look the same. But when you get into anything 3D, you should start to see a fair amount of upscaling going on. So what do we do 4 times? Oh, this is so slow. I guess that's how slow it was. So funny thing about emulation is it tends to emulate how slow it originally was. Like, you're not going to get it any faster just because you're on a more powerful PC or system.
Take the ride. Going in.
Going in. So, may not be as obvious with the shaders on, but yeah, like if I did 1x, this is gonna look really chunky pixels, you know, and this, you know, with the upscaling, it looks more like, you know, graphics from like Quake 3 or Quake 2 or something, instead of being real chunky PlayStation graphics. So that's just a nice built-in sort of thing. You can experiment with to make your older games look really good. Like I said, I was really impressed with how good Bloody Roar had turned out. I think, like I said, I think only certain emulators allow for the upscaling. So like I said, Swan Station, I think, is the one. Does a good job with this. I was testing it out with like Tomb Raider. Yeah, good one to upscale, because that one's really kind of cruddy looking with the original resolution, and if you upscale it, it looks so much better. It looks really good. This one's maybe not the best example, but I think it looks pretty decent. Man, am I almost dead here? Need some life. I'm doing terrible. Yeah, that guy just bombed me to bits. But yeah, it'll just give everything sharper lines and edges, and the textures. If it can, it'll upscale those textures pretty good too. If there's better detail actually sitting in the file assets, it'll use them. Ooh, some health. That's what we need. Man, I really want to customize these controls, because square is jump and X is fight, which is like no PlayStation game nowadays. I love how they were just all figuring it out and fighting over it at the time. Just nothing was consistent. Now it's all pretty consistent. It's a third person or first person game. It's going to have, pretty much know what the controls are going to be. I don't know what's back there. I don't know if I want to know. That guy went down quick. this game that well. I've only played a few minutes of it before. Oh, I swear I heard somebody over here. The lighting there shows it off pretty good. It looks pretty decent. I might even recommend turning off shaders for some of these 3D titles, and you get to really see kind of what it looks like. Let me see if I can pause for a sec, and then I think I can just go in. Main menu, just quickly. See, they take it away. It's all set up in the RetroBat front end. You can't even adjust it here. Normally shader would be an option right here, like an emulation station D. So I will say, like if you go this route, you lose some of that more refined customization, but I think it's all just in the RetroBat setup. You can probably do most of the same. You just have to install some of it. I wonder if we're supposed to go over here. I feel like this is a bad idea. Okay, yeah, bad idea. Anyway, I think that's about it for tonight's live stream. Thanks for those that stopped by, comment, like, subscribe. If you like seeing retro builds like this, let me go back. Come on, let's go back to it. There we go. So yeah, just like showing off some of the options here. We'll be adding systems. Probably gonna start experimenting with adding PS3, maybe some other systems around that era, some Xbox. I don't have any Xbox. Some guy came on here and commented like a million times Xbox. I just feel like Xbox, since it was Microsoft, you could probably just get those games on Steam now. Yeah, we'll experiment with some Xbox, some higher end consoles. Because the PS2 is as far as I got, and I haven't scraped these yet, but they do run. So yeah, we'll do another stream after I get a little more set up. But this is a pretty cool build. You can add Atari Jaguar, you can add Jaguar CD. Though I will say, I think Jaguar CD has very iffy support. It's just the emulator is not that far along. Just some lesser known systems, maybe throw in some 3DO, see if there's some 3DO specific exclusives that we should be checking out there. Yeah, maybe even some really old like Apple IIe, throw some that stuff in, play some Oregon Trail maybe. So yeah, if you like this stream, you like checking out this stuff with me, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'll try and get back to streaming more often again. It's kind of what I've been setting up on a few different machines, and so we'll do some of this. We'll do some of this on the Megacade and maybe the Racing Arcade. We'll check out some games specifically tailored for those two setups. Alright, yeah, I'm going to wrap up the stream here, and I'll catch you on the next one.